every day in the consumer digital health space, I get a thank you, right? So that happens in my app life, that happens in Ozlo. Every day somebody says thank you. Every day somebody says, "Hey, this really impacted me." And that, I think, for me is a really important motivator. I want to feel like the things I'm doing matter and that people actually care about the work that I'm doing. And getting that direct consumer feedback from having that direct customer relationship is really powerful.
How did you go about basically maintaining that community and building up on that community to be able to have a very successful campaign on Indiegogo and raising over $5.5 million? What were the crucial steps in your eyes to be able to pull that off?
Oh my gosh, so many. If we start thinking about it and breaking it down, I think the very first thing that you have to optimize for is building a product that people want to buy. So like there's this very famous advice from the startup school Y Combinator, build the product people want. Like, it sounds very simple. It's hilarious how many people don't actually take it seriously. And because of that, find themselves having built a product, they spent all this time, effort, and energy, all this money, and then they find out nobody wants this thing. Nobody wants this thing. It's like, if you look at the analysis of why startups fail, something like 75% of startups fail because effectively they built something that nobody wants. It's not because, they didn't have enough money or they didn't, there was like marketing issues or something. It's because you just didn't build something that people want. That's it. It's as simple as that. My advice, like my alteration on that advice, is build something people want to buy. Because if you build something people want, but they're not willing to actually exchange dollars for it, then
what's the point?
You have a strong problem. You have like a very strong problem. And I think somebody's willingness to pay is a really interesting early indicator of how much product market fit that you have. Like how much do the people in your target market actually want this product, right? It's like, how are they willing to put dollars to it? And so when you're talking about, creating a successful any kind of campaign, but let's say crowdfunding campaign, the very first thing that you have to answer is, are you painting a dream that people care about? Because in the crowdfunding campaign, you're not even delivering the product yet, right? Like ultimately what you're doing is you're painting a dream of what you want to exist in the world. And the question is, did you do enough homework? And did you de-risk enough that whatever you're launching actually has strong product market fit, actually is a product that people want to buy? That's number one, right? I think number two in our case is that things don't make themselves. It requires people, right? Like maybe sometime in the future when AI gets more sophisticated, things will just make themselves, right? That's not what happens today. Especially in hardware, right? Like software is, I think, pretty tremendously significantly easier than hardware. Hardware is way harder at a lot more risk. And so but again, you're not talking about the delivery of the product in launching the crowdfunding campaign. You're talking about selling the dream is effectively what you're talking about. And we have some incredible people on our team that are very, very good at selling the dream. And so a core component of our own success is that we had the right people to promote and sell that dream, like craft it, promote it, sell it, spread it. Like we have an incredible group, both internally and externally, of folks that really helped us sell that dream. So I think those to me are two big ones. Community building. So like, okay, you launch the campaign, you get some initial momentum. How are you treating these people? When somebody goes on your Indiegogo page and they go to the update section or the discussion section, how often are you updating people? How often when they comment, are you responding to the comments in a timely manner? what is the quality of responses that you have? Like when we talk about community building, people oftentimes glaze over the very important fundamentals of community building. When somebody comes into your home, how do you greet them? If somebody comes into your home and you're sitting on the couch watching TV and you don't even say hi to them, does that feel like a welcoming environment? Does that feel like a welcoming community?
Not really.
No, not really, right? If instead somebody comes into your home and you get up and you're like, oh my God, Jonathan, I'm so excited you're here. Like, hey, I made you this fruit plate. Like, it's like,
Right.
Have some nachos and chips. Like, you want something to drink? Like, it's a completely different, you react completely differently if somebody welcomes you into their home like that versus doesn't even get up to say hi. And I think this is true also when you're talking about crowdfunding. Like somebody's coming to your page, they're engaging with your content, they're engaging with your product. How do you treat them, right? When they have already put in funds to back your project, how do you treat them, right? This matters. And so like so often I see in crowdfunding campaigns, you can go to a product's page, they barely put out any updates, they barely respond to comments. If they do respond to comments, they're very defensive. They don't give realistic projections for when they're going to deliver things. I mean, it's like on and on and on. The commonplace problems, it's like, and people just, they do the same thing. They just like fall into the same trap. And it's like, ultimately, your community is only going to be as strong as how you show up to support them.
This is it.
I mean, it's like ultimately the party at your house is only going to be as good as how much you show up as the host, right?
How long did it take you actually from kicking off the campaign to actually delivering the product?
So we kicked off the campaign at the end of August. There were some delays in our campaign. So I think it took about 3.5 months longer than we had initially anticipated to deliver, which I think in the pantheon of crowdfunding campaigns is actually...
It's extremely rapid, isn't it? Like
yes, it's very rapid.
Like there are like many examples, and those are even the successful examples when you pay for something and it gets delivered 2-3 years later. That I think is still considered a successful crowdfunding campaign, right? In other examples, like you back something that never arrives.
Yeah, totally. I mean, so we had initially projected out that we were going to deliver in November, and we ended up delivering at the end of February, beginning of March, roughly. So
that's still very rapid.
Yeah, it's like, again, on the scale of delays, we're probably one of the fastest Kickstarter Indiegogo campaigns ever, frankly. But, during that time, we had to deal with a lot of backlash where people were like, hey, this is delayed. That's not cool. When are you going to ship? What's going on? Are you a scam? Like this one was always the funny one to me. It was like, you guys are a scam. It's like, man, if we're a scam, we are a super elaborate scam because you could go on TechCrunch and read how we just raised a bunch of money. You could read all these press publications everywhere. It would be a very elaborate scam. And so, but we dealt with that stuff. And
even those exist.
Yeah. Exactly. So, but like during that time period, we started building our communities outside of just the crowdfunding platforms. We started going on our subreddit, became very popular. So if you go, we have a very active subreddit. If you go to reddit/r/Ozlo, so you can go see, like we very lightly moderate the content in there. You'll see stuff that's negative. You'll see stuff that's positive. You'll see stuff all around the board. And ultimately it's a place it's like the town square of Oslo. Like people can go and they can say whatever they want to say. And we jump in there, we interact with folks, but they could see that our authenticity, we would come to the table always authentic. Like, hey, whether you're happy or you're mad, like we're here to meet you where you are, and we're here to be authentic and give you real answers. And that helped tremendously in building those communities because people could see, hey, like these people mean well, they're doing their best, they're making great progress, like they're engaging with us actively. Like, how often do you ever see a CEO jump onto a subreddit on a routine basis and like comment on people's posts and like engage with them? It's rare, right? But I look at it as one of my jobs is to have a direct line of communication consistently with our customers, right? Like to talk to them, to understand their hopes, their dreams, their worries, their fears. Like what do they want this product to be? What are the jobs that it needs to do for them? And to take all of that information back and deliver it to the team of like, hey guys, this is what our customers are saying. This is what they're feeling. Like how do we iterate one step closer to delivering on the mission?